So obviously I'm enjoying rocket racing, but let's be honest, it's got some problems, but it also has a lot of potential. So here's my wish list on what I'd like to see added to rocket racing. So the first thing I'd like to see happen to the game is fixing the collisions. Collisions are one of the biggest topics in the player base right now, and I've seen some people suggest getting rid of them entirely like Trackmania, but personally I think that's a bad idea. Maybe it's just me, but I really don't want to see Epic remove collisions from the game. See, collisions would add a layer of skill and decision making to the game if they didn't suck. Collisions create an interesting situation where players have to decide if they want to take a turn perfectly tight but risk getting bumped or pitted, or even take different less than ideal racing lines to try to avoid the pack and attempt to get ahead. Now, in its current state though, collisions are not great, and I think the recent change to tone things down was a good idea for now, but how cool would it be to actually have reliable, predictable collisions? So you can actually learn to avoid getting pitted, learn how to pit other players, or at least have some level of expectation on how your car will interact with others during a race. Next up is desync. This might be like top of the list for the most annoying things in this game. The most pressing part about the desync, and I'm sure all of us have experienced it, is crossing the finish line just before somebody else, only to find out on the results screen that actually you lost.
You lose! Good day, sir!
It's one of the most frustrating parts about rocket racing, especially considering that those final seconds of a race should be the most exciting. And then during the game itself, you can't reliably interact with other cars, because everyone's having a different experience. You can get your lap absolutely trolled by another player, and it's even more frustrating knowing that it probably wasn't even on purpose, just bad RNG taking you out, and that never feels good. Getting outskilled, on the other hand, wouldn't be as frustrating because, well, it's a competitive game and that's what's supposed to happen. But with the terrible desync, it takes away some of the charm when you realize that the other players are probably having a completely different experience to what you're seeing on your screen. And in a competitive game like this, issues like that shouldn't exist. If I'm gonna lose, look like I got outplayed or pitted, whatever, let it happen because I actually got outplayed by another player, not the server. Listen, Epic Games, I just want to mess with my friends during a race. Is that too much to ask? Okay, this next one's a little bit controversial, but I want to see more items in the game. Now, wait a second. I know I sound like an Epic Games shill, but honestly, looking at the same car forever with like 4 different decals and the same OEM wheels is getting kind of boring. Especially when the only thing I can think to do between games is customize my car, or like try out a new design or use it as copium, that's the reason I lost the last race. But I want to be able to unlock car bodies and wheels and paint variants and other things from doing like quests, or add more to the battle pass, or even just bring over more of my stuff from Rocket League, please, like soon. I know that that's coming, but like the sooner the better. And also, yes, let's get more cars in the item shop, just not priced at 4,000 credits. And according to this Games Radar article, you can expect additional features to come in the future, just as with Fortnite. Some of the plans include different types of cosmetics like drift smoke and boost effects. And honestly, I'm excited for that, especially when you can buy those in the shop using creator code DannyLotus. Okay, that was shameless. I'm sorry. Moving on. Now, this is another one that I've seen talked about a fair bit, but if we could fix the setting that makes it so your controls don't invert when you go on the ceiling, that would be great. It exists, but apparently it resets after every race. Now, I understand why it exists, but it's not for me, and it's super frustrating. Especially coming from a game like Rocket League, I want to control my car from the perspective of the car. Now, I will say I did see a tweet talking about it being worked on soon, but I also wanted to make sure I had a quick mention of it in the video because I'd love for that to be fixed sooner than later. The next thing I want to see in the game is more track locations. The current tracks, especially at the higher levels, are pretty cool. And especially as you rank up and improve your skill, the maps get a lot more depth to them as you get into the advanced expert maps, whatever they're called. They do give more opportunities for skill expression, experimenting, more shortcuts, like they're a bigger challenge, but at this point, everything is either in the woods or in the desert, which is fine, like they look nice, but a wider range of locations I think would be pretty cool. Like maybe in a city, a tundra, a jungle. More stuff like that would be a really nice addition to the game. Plus, I'm totally down for some more unserious locations too, like let's race on the moon. I don't know, Fast and Furious did it. I don't know, more variety and wackiness, at least to me, is very welcome. Also, editing Danny here, Rocket Racing did just put out a tweet saying this. We've unlocked several new advanced tracks for players ranked at Diamond 1 or higher, expanding the track pool when you queue for ranked racing. They did confirm that that includes Riviera, which is a really nice looking map, but I haven't jumped in myself just yet to check out what else is in there. But that's really nice to see. Map locations aside, just straight up more maps is also a good thing, especially more advanced maps, but I mean, that's kind of obvious, so I don't want to spend too much time on that. So the next thing is track-dependent player count. Please, for the love of God, I don't need 12 people on Outpost or Sidewinder or any of the other type maps like that. It's just a bit too many, and it gets to the point where it feels like you're not even really in control of your race. It's like if you're caught in the pack once, it's just chalked. And maybe that'll be fixed if they fix collisions and desync, but honestly, I kind of doubt it when it comes to those smaller maps. Like a more narrow track and more tight turns should warrant less players. Next up is another one that people talk about a lot, and that's a stat page. And I agree, I do want to see my record of the last 10 or 20 games or whatever, my personal bests on each map, my friends' personal bests, which will probably all be Trev. He was the top 100 from this video here. But at any rate, having that kind of information would be really interesting. It'd be cool. It'd be nice to load into Airborne 2 and see my personal best and try and beat it. And they could even take it a step further and show you like more unique things as well. I don't know exactly what, but the Rocket League stats page comes to mind. Now this also kind of falls under stats, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's already on the way, but being able to see leaderboards for the best players in the world, or even like a leaderboard of my friends, it'd be a really nice addition. Okay, fixing ranked percentages. This one I'm kind of on the fence about, but I wanted to include it anyway because a lot of people are asking for it. I do think it would be a good thing if you got more percentage points for winning races, but at the same time, I wouldn't mind if they waited until the end of Season 0 to make a change like this, because that way at least I'll have a better idea of where the player base lies, how many games it takes somebody to rank up, and things like that. Another last minute addition to this video, but they also just tweeted out that players in Silver through Diamond should see more generous ranked progress gains for most placements. So we know that they're fine-tuning things behind the scenes now, which is great to see, and in my opinion, I think it's a good sign that we can expect a much better balance over time. I want replays. A replay viewer similar to Battle Royale or the Rocket League replay viewer would be a godsend. You could review your games and your cool moments, you can show your friends how you like nailed a shortcut or something, and maybe I'm biased, but it would make creating content a lot easier as well. So that's a lot of what I would like to see in the game, but there is stuff coming that we already know about. According to the same Games Radar article I talked about earlier, more modes such as time trials are coming to the game soon, as well as what's probably the most exciting thing on the horizon, a track editor. These two things I think could be massive for keeping the game alive, especially the track editor, because that opens up endless amounts of content and things to do in the game. So overall, there's a lot of people that hate on Rocket Racing, but personally I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I think it has a ton of potential. I really think Epic Games is just getting started with it. The fact that more modes are on the way, pivotal features like track editor are confirmed, and the fact that we're in Season 0, it pretty much confirms that we're basically in a beta test right now. So with that in mind, I want you to think about games you've played for a long time and how they've evolved over the years. Even early Fortnite to what it is now, Minecraft at the very beginning to what it is now, the supersonic acrobatic rocket-powered battle cars to what Rocket League is right now. So to be honest, I think Rocket Racing is in for a good run. Like I said, I think we're basically in a beta testing phase for the game. So let's just hope that Epic can fix the issues in the game and keep adding more content to keep the game alive. If there's anything that you would like to see changed that I didn't mention in the video, let me know in the comments. My Road to Unreal series will be back very soon, so be sure to subscribe, like the video, and use creator code DannyLotus #ad.